Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today I am talking about what do you do when you have been diligently working in your imagination on creating what it is that you want to experience in reality, and then reality comes back and shows you the exact opposite, and it's devastating. What do you do in those moments? That's what I want to talk about today, so stick around. Hello and welcome if you are new to my channel. My name is Hedley Derenzie and I am a qualified life coach and author. And I am super passionate about the amazing teachings of the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville. It is the stories that we tell that create our life. So if you want to change your life, including any part of it, you have to start by changing the story that you're telling to yourself and others. And if you want to create the most amazing life, you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories. And that's where these teachings can help. And that is why I am here. I am telling myself much better stories and I want to help you to do the same. If you would like further support with this, I am available for one-to-one coaching where we work specifically on the stories that you're telling in order to create new realities in your life. And I am also, available on Instagram, and I also have a 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course that you can download instantly right now. All of those details are in the box below. Okay, let's get into it. So today I wanted to talk about what to do when you have been diligently doing everything according to the rules or the principles of law of assumption. There are no rules, but certainly principles, where you have been really working in your imagination on creating the state of consciousness that you want to experience in your reality. So imagining your reality as if you already have what it is that you want and doing it all in your imagination. So in other words, you've been doing all the right things. And then reality comes back and shows you the exact opposite. What do you do in those moments? Because those moments can be really super devastating, especially if you feel like you've done everything right, like you've put all of these principles into practice, you've used the techniques, you've fallen asleep to the scene of having what it is that you want, you've revised any negative, unfavorable stories that you might have running that will pop up. You can't think of anything more that you could have done that would create this situation where reality has jumped up and bitten you on the ass with the absolute opposite of what you have been working on. What do you do in those moments? And I just want to start by saying, I really get it. I get how difficult and devastating those moments can be. We don't know how this works. We don't understand a lot of what's going on, and we're not meant to. Like, there's a reason why we're having this experience and we're going through these trials and tribulations to experience certain things, but it's all leading us somewhere, and often in that moment we can't see where that is, and we can't tell. I mean, that's why hindsight is so wonderful, because you can look back and go, oh right, now I understand why that shitty thing happened, because if it didn't, it wouldn't have led to this and this and this. So there is always a gift in something, and we don't always understand why reality shows up the way it does, especially we've been working on creating a whole other reality in our imagination. But the thing is, this isn't just a clear-cut way of getting reality to do what it is that we want to do. There is more to it, and this process is a process of awakening, and reality is the tool through which we do that. So sometimes reality doesn't work out the way we want to. However, it is all working out in our favor, especially if you hold that assumption that everything is working out in your favor, and that even this shitty thing that is happening will eventually become clear in terms of how this is working out in my favor. I just can't see it yet, but I know that everyone is here to help me and everything is working out in my favor, and I am in the process of awakening and returning to who I truly am, which is imagination, which is God. So when I am able to hold that assumption, then that can kind of take some of the sting out. But certainly when you're in that moment where reality has shown up something completely opposite to what you've been working on, it can be really devastating and be really traumatic and just be really awful. And there's really no way to law of assumption your way out of that moment, especially when you're in the moment and the emotion is moving through your body. And that is where you simply have to give yourself the time and space, and to give your body, this beautiful temple which houses this incredible imagination that we all have, and through which we can experience reality, to give that time to do what it needs to do, to allow it to cry. If you want to cry, if something's shown up in your reality and it's shitty and it's awful, let yourself cry. Get angry. Say all the things, ideally in private, not to somebody if they've upset you, but ideally create a space for yourself where you can allow the emotions to move through your body. This is not about denying the emotions that are moving through the body. This is all part of the process, and sometimes we just have to give ourselves space to let the shit run through the system, because that's just where we're at, and there's no way of changing the story in that moment where we're having an emotional reaction. It does happen, it will happen, it's shitty when it happens, and really when you're in that moment there's nothing to do but allow that devastation and that anger and whatever else is coming up through you, just to let that be. It's not about changing the story in that moment. However, that is not the time to give up, and that is probably the time where you most want to give up. That is not the moment to do that. In fact, that is the moment after you've processed and let those emotions flow through. That is the time to actually drive further into this, because there's a choice you have as to which story you're going to tell and which story you're going to persist with. One thing that I do is, let's say you're focusing on something specific. Let's say your specific person that you've wanted to reconnect with and they've gone and got engaged to somebody else. So that's a specific situation that you've been working on that hasn't shown up in your reality the way you wanted to. And it can be really difficult in that moment to continue to persist with the new story in the face of a reality that's showing you the opposite, especially if it's like a specific person or a specific thing that you're working on. So in that moment, what I do is I go general. So I will go back to what it is that I want to experience. So if it's a specific person, I'll go back to the relationship that I want to experience, and I will tell the story about that. Now, if it's a specific situation, let's say you had your heart set on a specific car, and that car, somebody sold that car to somebody else and you lost out on it. I would then go general as to the type of car that I wanted to be driving. So if something in your life didn't work out specifically the way you've been working on it, that is not the time to give up on this. That is the time to just take a step back, process what you need to process, and then go general. If you can't stay with the specific story, if it's too hard, reality is proving too challenging to persist with in the face of it, go general. So rather than going specific, take yourself out of that, because sometimes that can just get way too tough, way too hard, especially when your reality is showing that specific thing has gone in a completely different direction, which is not to say you can't have it. And that's the other thing I want to mention, is that everything is possible in imagination. Nothing is impossible in imagination. And we are here to marry the impossible with the possible. That's part of this journey into the physical body. That's part of our journey home, is returning to who it is that we truly are, which is imagination, and marrying that up with this physical experience. So bringing more of the impossible into the possible. So nothing is impossible, even when it looks like it is. And in fact, that's the time to really sort of barrel down and persist with your story. And it's like, how determined, how willing are you to have faith in yourself? Are you going to let this experience in reality dictate to you how you use your imagination? Reality is just following imagination. So if something shows up that's really shitty, we just have to know that it's because something happened in our consciousness that is, and it's no fault of anybody, but it just means that we haven't yet fully aligned with that experience. It hasn't yet become natural in our consciousness. Again, no fault, no need to blame, but we just continue to work. We're just working with imagination. We're not working with reality. I know that sounds counterproductive, but we don't have control over reality. So if you are trying to control reality, if you are trying to get an outcome from reality, then your focus is not on your consciousness. So if you knew you had what it is that you want, you would be absolutely solid and stable in that imagined act, in your imagination, knowing without a shadow of a doubt, even in the face of a reality that's showing you the opposite, that you are going to experience what it is that you want, because you are persisting with the story. If you fall off at the first sign of reality showing you something opposite, then you haven't really aligned with that imagined act in consciousness, because at the first sign of reality showing you the opposite, you're like, no, it's bullshit. No, doesn't work. I get that this is tough. I get that this is a challenge, but this is what we're here for. We're here to awaken, and this is part of the awakening process. So give yourself the time and space that you need to process what it is that you need to process. Cry, scream, punch pillows, not people. Do whatever it is that you need to do to just let that energy move through your body, and then come back. And if you can't go specific, just step back and go general. Stick to the general story of what it is that you want to experience. And then just slowly and surely just get yourself back into that state of consciousness of having what it is that you want to experience, knowing that by persisting and holding that state of consciousness, reality has to catch up. There is no other way around this. This is how the game works. And when you know the rules of the game, even when the game sucks, you at least know the rules and how to play it, and so you can get back on rather than falling into that old negative story that is just going to take you down an old shitty path. We've been down that path. It doesn't lead us to what it is that we want. So even if reality isn't showing up, at least we have our imagination, and go in there and make something up that makes you feel good. Tell the story that's going to make you feel good, and just sit with that story, even in the face of reality that's not showing up the way we want. At least you're going to feel better. I hope this has helped. This can be difficult work. This can be challenging work. Doesn't have to be, but it can be, certainly. And it does get easier and easier the more we stick with it. So stick with it and stick with yourself. Obviously, that's the whole point of this, that you are the one. And so have faith in yourself. Stick with yourself. 3 plays for you to take away and implement throughout the day are: number 1, first of all, when reality does the opposite, allow yourself to feel whatever feelings you are feeling in that moment. Do not try and law of assumption your way out of it. This is not about denying our experience. We want to feel everything that comes up. So just give yourself that time and space to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. And then number 2, when you're ready, go back to the general story of what it is that you want to experience. So if you're working on something specific and reality has shown you the exact opposite and it's way too hard to stick with that specific story in that moment, just go general. Go back to the story, the general story of what it is that you want to experience, and just hold that story. And then when you are ready, number 3, tell the story that is going to feel really good. So ideally get back onto that specific story that you want to experience, but do it in a way that makes you feel really good. And if you can't get there, just keep coming back to the general story. Find your way, figure it out, what works for yourself. Trust yourself, have faith in yourself, and you will get there. So those are my 3 plays. I hope this has helped. Please remember, you are the creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have the most amazing life. This is my wish for you. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to share with family and friends, or like and comment. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you. Thanks so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.